Ecuador. Holy cow. The fact that this tastes like mint chocolate chip ice cream and that you can't taste the alcohol.
Let's see if the taste defies the smell.
The smell of that is a very strong coffee. I really like that smell. It's almost like a buttery coffee. Oh my, that is delicious.
Whoa!
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we gon' let it know. Yeah, I think that we gon' let it know.
Yo, welcome back to the Snapshot World Cup. The Ecuadorian entry is Canelazo. Canelazo is a popular drink. It's a hot beverage, obviously an alcoholic beverage, all throughout South America, particularly in Ecuador. It's actually a very simple drink, but it's not one that I had had before, and I don't think either one of them have had this before either, so I'm excited to see their ranking and their review for this drink. So here's what we did so far. We took 6 cups of water, we took 8 cinnamon sticks, and 1 cup of sugar. We brought the water to a boil, and then we let that simmer for about 30 or 40 minutes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take 1 cup of our mixture. We'll pour it into each of these mugs. We will add 1.5 ounces of aguardiente to each one of these. You know, aguardiente is, in Portuguese, a generic term for a grain alcohol between 29 and 60% alcohol by volume. This particular aguardiente is 29%, and as the bottle says, cane neutral spirits with natural flavor and anise oil added. Now, aguardiente can be made from a number of different sources, perhaps a number of fruits. Oftentimes it is sugared fruits. It could be banana, oranges, apples, whatever it may be. But for that sense, it is a sweeter liquor, and it is similar in that sense to a rum, but it is certainly distinct from a rum. And so, as you may guess, given this is a hotter drink, this is probably better in the winter months. But here we are entering the World Cup in November, and so this may be the perfect drink for you as you cheer on Team Ecuador.
Give it a little smell.
Ooh, that is like Big Red Gum.
Sweet Lord Mama Jamma. Ecuador. Holy cow. Who would have thought?
All right, Ferbalicious Frontier, I just want to give a warning out. If the drink's too hot, don't chug it. This one is definitely not too hot, so we're going to chug this.
Oh, I can't chug it. Don't chug it. Don't chug it. Don't chug
Ferbalicious
it.
Frontier doesn't give up.
This is like a box of cinnamon.
It just, like, doesn't end. And I want to, just between chugs here, I just want to say, out of all the glasses...
He's had like 7 drinks now.
Did you finish it yet?
I just want to say, the lip on his drink is definitely different. Mine's been dripping all over my face.
I feel...
All right, just cut to this last part. Down to 1, Ferbalicious Frontier. So the Canelazo is not meant to be chugged. That's what I'm going to say. It's a drink that's meant to be sipped on while you're watching soccer. I feel like I wouldn't like this if it was cold. It's like if you heated up Big Red, melted it down, put a little alcohol in it, and drank it. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good.
It tastes kind of like American warm apple cider. I enjoyed that. That wasn't, but when chugging it, that was not good. That was not a good idea.
Yeah, Ferbalicious Frontier, you get the pass if you don't chug this one. But down at 5, you have to do it. So 5 sips has to go down. If you're a cinnamon fan, you will like this. That goes without saying. If you're not a cinnamon fan, it not only has the taste of cinnamon, but every time, when you smell it, it's going to have that cinnamon embrace.
And this is a high rating for me, 7.1. I'm not the biggest cinnamon fan, but I enjoyed this. It's a drink to have once in a while, not all the time. But I could really see myself sitting back and watching a holiday movie. I know it sounds really weird to say that, but you can't even really taste the alcohol given this is, 29%?
Ferbalicious ranking is going to be 6-2.
I don't get to give a rating, I just get to pick which score my score would be closer to. And I liked this drink. I would be closer to the 7.1, so Dick Shots gets a point for that one. It's like around the horn, and I get a little lever that I get to press, and he gets a point for that one. Also in Group A, we have the Netherlands. And so this right here, this is the Dutch Velvet. This is actually one of my favorite cocktails to make. I guess it would also be certainly one of my favorite cocktails to drink as well. Yo, this is a really easy drink to make. We start off with 1 ounce of banana liqueur, creme de banana, same thing. Then we'll add 1 ounce of chocolate vodka. We've also got 1 ounce of creme de menthe. I would highly recommend that you go with the clear creme de menthe. There's also a green creme de menthe. The only difference is that one is colored with food coloring, right? But it's going to make the color of the drink change a little bit. And for aesthetic purposes, I would definitely recommend the clear creme de menthe. So 1 ounce of clear creme de menthe. Then we've got 4 ounces. So total alcohol so far, 3 ounces. We're going to add 4 ounces of half and half. Now we're going to shake and strain this one, but for the half and half of the cream in here, you're going to want to make sure that you shake and strain this one really, really well. Now, we're not done just yet. We're going to go ahead and garnish our drinks with a little bit of shaved chocolate.
This tastes like a vanilla bean frappuccino. And I love vanilla bean frappuccinos.
Oh, so you like this one?
Yeah, I do like this one.
Ooh.
I didn't think I'd like the chocolate, but the chocolate actually off flavors it.
Down one for the frontier.
Got milk?
This is uncanny when you're comparing it to a mint chocolate chip ice cream. The texture of it, chocolate chip mint ice cream in the blender, blended it up with maybe just a little bit of milk, put some chocolate shavings on it, and then chugged it. That's what this tastes like. Can't really taste the alcohol. It's thick. It's hard to chug.
No, I will agree with that. You know what I'll say is this. There's something that you said really resonated with me. The fact that this tastes like mint chocolate chip ice cream and that you can't taste the alcohol, I agree with that.
Thank you.
There's 2 types of people in this world. One type of person thinks mint chocolate chip ice cream is great. Other person thinks that it tastes like toothpaste. I love mint chocolate chip ice cream. 7.8.
This was a tough review because it really depends on the day for how I feel about a drink like this. When I first saw this drink, the Dutch Velvet, I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. And it is, but not as much as I thought, so I'm going to go with a rating of 7 flat.
I'll say this. Different context. If you're lonely on a Friday night, you got through a bad breakup, I would chug a gallon of this.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you like this so much.
Because I'm lonely.
So it's funny, I actually thought that Ferbalicious was going to like this one a lot more than Dickey would. But I would go closer. Would you give it 7.8?
7.8.
I would go closer to 7.8. So that is yet again, for Group A, another point for Dick Shots. Moving right along in Group A, this is Senegal. And for Senegal, we are making Jus de Bissap. That is the national drink of Senegal. Now, you can have this non-alcoholic. We will, of course, have the alcoholic version. So, for our drink, we're going to have 2 ounces of overproof white rum. The other part of the Jus de Bissap, which also could by itself be Jus de Bissap, is a mixture of a whole bunch of different things, and there was quite a long process to get there that I'm not going to show you, but instead I'll tell you about it, which is basically just as good, right? So to make this Jus de Bissap, we took 8 cups of water. We brought it to a boil, then we added 2 cups of hibiscus leaf. Then we turned off the heat and we let it steep for 10 minutes. Then we strained out the hibiscus leaves, really just leaving us with essentially hibiscus water. And from there you can add a whole number of different ingredients. Here we added 2 cups of sugar. We then added vanilla extract, grated ginger root, orange flower water, and lemon juice. Stirred all that together, added ice, and set it aside for it to chill. We got all of that done in advance of here. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our rum individually to these glasses, and we'll fill it with our non-alcoholic Jus de Bissap. You know, this is guaranteed full strength. 2 ounces right into the glass. Then we'll go ahead and add, of course, our Jus de Bissap. Give it a quick stir.
All right, well, so just, pre-chase of the smell, not looking good thus far. Let's see if the taste defies the smell.
My fans don't drink this.
So I actually, while he's drinking, I actually don't hate this. The smell, it smells like straight rum. The taste, it doesn't taste like rum. It's terrible.
I'd like to start off by saying the biggest problem within this country in particular, is voodoo.
Do you really not know where Senegal is?
I have no idea what this country
It's
is.
one of the biggest African nations.
Yeah, and it's also an ancient African country. They have a lot of history there.
They have it's a beautiful place. The drinks are terrible. And I didn't think anything could be worse than voodoo other than this drink. 3.9.
Woo! Wow.
3.9.
That's awful.
And they better not be making voodoo things of dick shots. I will not. Oh, ah.
For the Ferbalicious Frontier, the smell was awful. The taste was better, but wasn't much better. The rum came out too strong. It almost, and there wasn't much rum in it, which was the problem. It tasted like rum. The taste of the rum lingered in your mouth throughout the whole drink. I wasn't a fan either. It wasn't hard to chug, so there's a plus for that. But what I will say is the taste wasn't there, and it wasn't enjoyable. I'm going for a 4.2, and it's definitely a drink you should try, especially since it's one of the national drinks of Senegal. But for the amount of effort that it probably takes to make this, I wouldn't make this, on a weekly basis to hang out and watch sports or whatever you're going to do. This is definitely a once in a
decade.
Century.
This is definitely a once in a while type of drink if you have the extra time, but it's not a drink that I'd go chasing after.
So I personally did not hate this drink. I didn't love it. It's a unique drink, and I'm definitely glad that I gave it a shot and tried it out. I think by default I have to be closer to Ferbalicious' score because they're both below where I would be, but by default I'd be closer to his score.
Can I stop you for a second? I'll tell you this. The feeling that I get, this is a good feeling drink. It did not go down well, it did not taste well, it did not look well or smell well. But I feel great right now.
I gotta say, this was a really difficult drink to try and figure out because, well, alcohol is basically prohibited throughout the entirety of Qatar. They've been doing some kind of unique scenarios in order to make it work for consumption of alcohol at the actual World Cup games. Last I heard, they're actually not going to do that, so no alcohol. But this is a snapshot, and we're not going to do a mocktail today. We're actually going to do a cocktail. Here's what we did so far. This is a coffee-based drink. Now, we went ahead and did all of this infusing work right here. So here we have a double recipe, but to make one recipe, and all the ingredients that I always give, unless otherwise stated, are a single recipe. So, for the original recipe, 3 cups of water, boil it. Then we stirred in 3 tablespoons of ground instant coffee. We put in a pinch of cinnamon, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. We added a pinch of saffron, also again about 1/8 of a teaspoon. 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cardamom, or maybe just a pinch, depending on how you measure. And the zest of 1/2 of an orange. And that got us this right here. This is going to be the base of our drink. The liquors that we're going to use here are Grand Marnier, a French cognac orange liqueur mix, and Qahwa, a coffee liqueur, of course, for our coffee beverage. People love their coffee in Qatar. So this, minus the liquors, is actually a very popular drink in Qatar. The liquors added kind of give a whole extra element of texture. So we'll start, we're going to add 1/2 ounce of Qahwa to each of these espresso cups. And 1 ounce of Grand Marnier. Now to each of these, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar. This is really to taste. Most of the time you're going to add anywhere from 0 to 4 teaspoons. We're going to add 2 to each of these.
The smell of that is a very strong coffee. I really like that smell. It's almost like a buttery coffee. Oh my, that is delicious.
Whoa! And this comes from the Ferbalicious Frontier. Qatar is a dry country. If you have any information on the history of why that is now, comment it below because I'm interested to hear about the history. That just got me jazzed a little bit. The caffeine hit me right at the right time. I was on a downward trend, just whipped me back up. I'm not a coffee guy. Typically when I order coffee, I order it more in milkshake form as like a frappuccino or like an iced, latte or whatever. Don't judge me. This was okay. This was not bad. The roast, whatever it is, I don't know whether it came Qatar or not. Easy to chug, very quick buzz, not in the alcoholic sense, but in the caffeine sense. It picks you up very quickly. Again, because I'm not a coffee drinker, this is not the drink you you would drink casually. This is a drink, again, on a special occasion, perhaps at a brunch even, or even at like a dessert for dinner. When somebody's like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, we just ate a whole bunch. What about a cappuccino? What about, you know, an espresso? Whatever it is to keep you awake. This is what I drink. 6.7, and that's extremely high because I don't like coffee.
I'll give this. I'll tell my fans. Here's how I give my drinks. The last sip, the last little gulp down my throat, the last sip, the last little bit I get in that glass, something just generates in my mind. And you know what that generated is? I'll tell you this. You're gonna be surprised by this. You're gonna be surprised by this too.
I'm ready.
8.2.
Woo!
I loved that.
Wow.
I loved that.
Wow.
This is a good country.
For me, the coffee has a whole bunch of extra flavors. The orange zest really comes through. That comes through, I'm sure, is in part from the Grand Marnier as well. But it's got this really kind of dynamic flavor where it's not this overpoweringly acidic coffee flavor. There's a whole lot of depth. I think, though, that I am closer to the lower score that was given. I think I am closer to Ferbalicious. Let us know, though. Like Ferbalicious said, go ahead and give us a comment if you tried this, if you like it, any of your thoughts, anything about the history of this drink or coffee in Qatar or the World Cup or anything else. We love hearing from you. Make sure to drop a comment down below. That's it for Group A, y'all. We'll be back with more from the Snapshot World Cup. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for every single one of the 32 different nations participating in the World Cup. Cheers until next time. And, y'all, if you're going to enjoy this beverage or any other, please just do so responsibly.